I don't want to be no goon. I don't want to be dead. I don't want to be in jail. I want 100 million. Buy your mother's son. Buy your grandma's son. It's easy to pull the trigger, but it ain't easy to move your mom out the hood. That's a real man job.
Everybody wants to know what I would do if I didn't win. I guess we'll never know.
You know, everything happens for a reason, and there's a story to everything, and if you take time to realize, you know, what your dream is, and what you really want in life, no matter what it is, whether it's sports, whether it's in other fields, you have to realize that there's always work to do, and you want to be the hardest working person in whatever you do.
David was the son of Samuel, one of the greatest kings of Israel, all right? What happened with David, he had 8 brothers. Okay, when Samuel's time came to lose power, everybody was looking to his sons. He had 8. David was the least likely, but the one chosen. He was the youngest, the smallest, the weakest. He was the one selected. Now you may say, well, you know, why am I telling you that tonight? Why do we need to hear that? Here's why. I'm telling you what, he was the least likely candidate. There are a lot of people out here tonight who think you are the least likely candidate to be successful. David was chosen because he had an intangible. His intangible was his heart. All right? Now they're bigger. They got athletes. They got guys going to Division I schools. All right? We can see that, and so can everybody else. But nobody can see the intangible with us.
If you go to the gym and you work out and you come back and you look in the mirror, you will see nothing. And if you go to the gym the next day and you come back and you look in the mirror, you will see nothing, right? Clearly there's no results, can't be measured, it must not be effective. So we quit, right? Or if you fundamentally believe that this is the right course of action and you stick with it, if you believe there's something there, you commit yourself to an act of service. You commit yourself to the regime, the exercise. You can screw it up. You can eat chocolate cake one day, you can skip a day or two. You know, it allows for that. But if you stick with it consistently, I'm not exactly sure what day, but I know you'll start getting into shape. I know it. Going to the gym for 9 hours does not get you into shape. Working out every day for 20 minutes gets you into shape. It's not about the events. It's not about intensity. It's about consistency.
My whole life I was told what I was doing was wrong. It was crazy to launch an internet site for a liquor store in 1996. People thought the internet was a fad. Forget about, is TikTok a fad? Some of the OGs in here know, we debated if the whole thing was a fad. Right? And then I did email instead of catalogs, and that was not smart. What's email? And then I bought Google AdWords, and I was spending more money on Google AdWords than I was spending on direct mail and newspaper ads, and that was stupid. And then I sat down and started filming a wine show on YouTube a month after YouTube came out, and people thought I lost my mind, let alone that it was stupid. And then I took all the money I had in my life, that I saved my whole life, and invested in Facebook and Twitter 5 years before they became public companies. And all my financial advisors and family and everybody else thought that was stupid. I'm only excited when people tell me it is stupid. That's when I know I'm about to do something smart.
I'm the best ever. I'm the most brutal and vicious and most ruthless champion there's ever been. There's no one can stop me. Lynx is a conqueror. No, I'm Alexander. He's no Alexander. I'm the best ever. There's never been anybody as ruthless. I'm Sonny Liston. I'm Jack Dempsey. There's no one like me. I'm from Nairclaw. There's no one that can match me. My style is impetuous. My defense is impregnable. And I'm just ferocious. I want your heart. I want to eat his children. Praise be to Allah.
I want you to be as successful as humanly possible now, not when you're 55. The people that are 40, 50, 60, and 70 that don't know anything about the internet don't realize why I think the internet's demise of the world, part of the demise. Why should a 20-year-old be able to make $500,000 a year? And we've had them here. With no education, and education isn't the end all, believe me. No education, no experience, no background, no fuck all. And back 10 years ago, before the algorithms and all that changed, I had kids sitting in this room from Romania. They were making $2 million a month. 2 millions. 2 fucking millions a month. And they could hardly wipe their own ass.
If you want to know something about yourself, sit on your bed one night and say to yourself, what's one thing I'm doing wrong, that I know I'm doing wrong, that I could fix, that I would fix? It's like, you meditate on that, you'll get an answer. And it won't be one you want, but it'll be the necessary one.
If you don't own something, you're not the boss. You have to take full responsibility for everything that you do. Why be subservient? You must be the master of your own kingdom. You have to take possession of your life.
Is this a thought process that you have to constantly reaffirm, or is this cemented in
it's
your
exactly
head?
that. It's exactly that. There's a world out there trying to tell you who you are, and there's a world in here that's trying to tell you who you are. Now, where do you want to put your eggs? Because the world outside is very noisy and very tempting, and it has all the razzmatazz, has all the tinsel and all the glitter. It's got all the toys. But that's because you don't think you're enough in the first place. So the world will try and tell you who you are, and you have to tell yourself who you are. And there's this ongoing battle. And somehow there needs to be a reconciliation between the two. But in the end, you've got to have all the eggs in your basket.
It's about a donkey who is thirsty and hungry, and there's water on one side, a few feet away, and hay on the other. And he can't decide whether to do the hay first, or the water, the hay or the water, and he dies of thirst at the end of it. He couldn't do them sequentially. In effect, you can do almost everything you want in life, but you can't do it at the same time. And if you can just dedicate yourself to one thing for even a year, and then the next thing for a year, you can do those 10 things. But if you try to do all 10 at once, you're gonna be burden's ass. You're gonna be like, should I do this? Should I do this? Or should I focus on this? Or should I focus on this? So don't be a donkey.
Cut out the bullshit. Cut the bullshit. Just get to the weeds of that. You are fucking yourself up by not examining your brain. You're not examining your brain. Message it. That's done. You examine your fucking brain, and that takes some hard work and suffering. If you're not willing to do that, I'm sorry.
And it seems like there's no way to do that as a bystander.
No, you can't watch it, man.
Yeah.
You gotta get out there and be like, oh, this hurts. This hurts real fucking bad. I don't think this is smart. And then, guess what happens? The body will adjust. It will adjust.
You watch me because in some way you could relate to me or you look up to me in some way. Well, guess what? You can go out and get this shit too. I'm trying to tell you it's not easy. It takes a lot of hard work, dedication, a lot of blessings, a lot of luck. It's lucky. But at the same time, you have people that work years and years and years and years, and it finally will pay off. If you work extremely hard at whatever you got going on, something that you love to do, I swear to God, your life would change. I'm gonna tell you guys right now, your parents might be the hardest people in your life that you gotta convince. So unfortunately, if you're living under the roof and you're still taking their money and you're still eating their food, you gotta listen to them. You gotta either get a 9-to-5 job on the side, either you gotta go to college, you gotta listen to them, or you gotta respect your parents, you have to. However, once you start getting that leverage to where you can be like, yo, mom, dad, look, fucked off for a little bit. Let me grind on what I got going on right now. This is something special and great. Don't ever fucking let somebody let you down. Don't ever let somebody tell you you cannot be something, bro. I'm telling you, bro, you guys are all amazing.
You have to choose you first. Choose you.
Definitely.
Do not stay in a relationship and suffer in silence. Either you grow together or you grow apart. And that doesn't make you a bad person or the person you with a bad person. But you have to choose you. If you don't love yourself, you can never love anyone else because you don't love yourself. So the person that you with is just a band-aid to cover up what's going on with you internally. Until you figure those things out, that's the most painful thing is being alone. No phone, no internet, no none of that. You have to be alone. You have to go through that process.
Pain is temporary. It may last for a minute, or an hour, or a day, or even a year. But eventually, it will subside. And something else will take its place. If I quit, however, it will last forever.
Life is not easy. It is not. Don't try to make it that way. Life's not fair. It never was. It isn't now, and it won't ever be. Do not fall into the trap, the entitlement trap, of feeling like you're a victim. You are not. Get over it and get on with it. And yes, most things are more rewarding when you break a sweat to get them.
Make a choice. Like, you just decide what it's going to be, who you're going to be, how you're going to do it. Just decide. And then from that point, the universe is going to get out your way.
Bill Gates was offered $7.5 million to sell all of Microsoft in 1979. It would have been a rich guy if he had taken it.
even putting that aside, the impact on society wouldn't have been the same. We had discussions with Facebook about buying Facebook, but Zuckerberg knew what he viewed as an outcome that he really desired and was willing to put in the blood, sweat, and tears, just like we were. So execution and measurement are hugely important, and yet people let themselves off the hook.
There's two sides of pain that I don't think a lot of people really understand, right? There's one side of pain that's the suffering and the discomfort side of pain. That's why everybody raised their hands when I first asked, have everybody ever been through pain? Because that hurts. You remember what that felt like. But then there's another side of pain that's called effort. It's called glory. It's called if you can find a way to push through pain, there's something greater on the other side of it. And if you never tap into it, it's because the first time you felt it, you backed off. The first time you felt, that burn, the first time you felt that it's too much. And we rationalize with ourselves to where we automatically stop. That's why a bunch of us give up so much in life so quickly. That's why kids have a problem finishing things in today's time.
People are just too quick to say, oh, Conor's picking what he wants, Conor's doing what he wants.
I
It's
am
like
picking what I want, and I am doing what I want. When you can rack up $400 million in revenue for the company in back-to-back events, you can do whatever the fuck you want. I'm living the whatever the fuck I want life. That's the life I live. Whatever I want, whenever I want.
You know, sometimes all you need is 20 seconds of insane courage. Just literally 20 seconds of just embarrassing bravery. And I promise you, something great will come of it.
Your mind has to be stronger than your feelings. Your mind has to be stronger than your feelings. Think about every poor decision you've made in your life.
Gosh.
There was more emotion that was involved in it than there was mind. Every single one of them. Think about it.
Really was.
Your feelings keep you in bed. Your mind tells you, get up.
My goodness, don't you remember when you went first to school? You went to kindergarten. And in kindergarten, the idea was to push along so that you could get into first grade, and then push along so that you could get into second grade, so on, going up and up. And then you went to high school, and this was a great transition in life. And now the pressure is being put on. You must get ahead. You must go up the grades and finally be good enough to get to college. And then when you get to college, you're still going step by step up to the great moment in which you're ready to go out into the world. And then when you get out into this famous world comes the struggle for success in profession or business. And again, there seems to be a ladder before you, something for which you're reaching all the time. And then, suddenly, when you're about 40 or 45 years old in the middle of life, you wake up one day and say, I've arrived. I feel pretty much the same as I've always felt. In fact, I'm not so sure that I don't feel a little bit cheated. You can't live at all unless you can live fully now.
Every business, I have 5 companies now. We'll do 100 million this year. I started every one of those companies with no money. Zero money, man. Just hustle and grit and courage. I've called on people I didn't want to be with. I've done things I didn't want to do, okay? It is not about doing what you love. It's about doing whatever it takes to make your dreams a reality.
Be the number one believer in yourself. Don't let anyone doubt you. And the more that you show you got belief in yourself, the more the support gonna come along. You just gotta be focused on you. And like I say, grind out to your dreams to the fullest extent.
When I told my boss, David Shaw, that I was gonna do this thing, he went on a long walk with him in Central Park, and he said, finally, you know, after a lot of listening, he said, you know what, Jeff, this is a really good idea. I think you're onto a good idea here, but this would be a better idea for somebody who didn't already have a good job. Right. And that actually made so much sense to me that he convinced me to think about it for 2 days before making a final decision. And that was, and it's one of those decisions I made with my heart and not my head. And I basically said, I don't want to regret, when I'm 80, now 90, I want to have minimized the number of regrets that I have in my life. And most of our regrets are acts of omission. They're things we didn't try. It's the path untraveled. Those are the things that haunt us.
If you're not getting hated on, you ain't doing shit right. You need people talking about you. You need people saying, I don't like that person. Because in turn, they really want to be you.
Everybody going through something. Everybody like suffering with something. I know there's a lot of people just like me. Like every day I wake up just mad about something. Just mad, just thinking about crazy stuff, right? But I'd be like, the only way like my life could change and the world could soften up if I change like how I think and how I'm vibing. Cause like you ain't gonna get no good fruit off a bad tree, you know? And like a good tree can only produce good fruit.
If you died right now, would you feel accomplished with what you've done in life?
Yeah, because a man isn't defined by the amount of money he made while he was alive. He's defined by the impact that he left, and the impact that I've left on the people that I've come into contact with has been positive, and I thank God for that every day.
What's a bitch mean? What does that qualify someone to make that?
Just a bitch, like someone who is just putting themselves through something they don't want, a set of circumstances that they don't want, and then fucking crying about it.
Their actions aren't congruent with their desires or mission.
Their daily habits are not in line with the future they desire. Right. Their daily habits are out of whack, and then they're wondering why it's happening to them. They're acting like it's happening to them.
Right.
It's like, you're fucking doing it.
It's either you have it or you don't. That sounds like excuses to me. I mean, you got to figure it out, right? If you really have an obsession to figure it out, you will figure it out, right? And every puzzle is constructed differently. All right, AI's situation when he came into the league was different than mine. Mike's situation in Chicago was different than mine, right? Everybody has a different puzzle, man. You just got to figure out your own puzzle.
The bottom line is, no one's coming. No one. No one's coming to push you. No one's coming to tell you to turn the TV off. No one's coming to tell you to get out the door and exercise. Nobody's coming to tell you to apply for that job that you've always dreamt about. Nobody's coming to write the business plan for you. It's up to you. And because you're only ever going to do the things that you feel like doing right now or that feel good right now, unless you understand that you've got to parent yourself, you got to push yourself, you're not going to make your dreams come true. You're just not. We're not wired that way. You weren't born that way, you weren't that way when you were growing up, and you're certainly not that way as an adult.
You have no idea how limitless you are when you don't care what other people think or say about you. And to answer your question, it is fear that drives that. It is. And most of your mates that you hang around with are just as afraid because you pick somebody like yourself to hang around with. Now I say this, some people believe me, some people don't. We've had people pass out. We've had people piss their pants. We've had a Big Four accounting partner shit his pants. Shat himself, as they say. And then put it on his fucking stationery and write me a letter. Thank you. I didn't know I was alive or a real man until I shit myself. So if everybody you associate with is afraid of their own shadow, then how the fuck are you going to be any different? You're not.
Live your life like you're the hero in your movie. And right now is when the fucking movie starts and your life is a shitbag disaster. You're in the part of the movie that starts and it shows you as a fucking loser. And just decide not to be a loser anymore. Live your life like there's a documentary crew following you around and you are analyzing your own behavior. Do what you would want to do so that your kids one day would look back at it and see that documentary and look on it with pride, like, wow, my dad was a bad motherfucker. He really did what he had to do. Wow, my mom really got her shit together. I'd love a success story, but even more than a success story, I like a dude who fucks his life up and then gets it back together again story.
It's like, get yourself educated, man. Read some books, learn to talk, learn to think, make yourself into something. Get the hell out there and make the world that put you here happy that you were put there.
You know, if every time someone asks you a question, you try to say the right answer, your entire life is a test. And when did you have the most anxiety in grammar school and high school? No question. On test day. No question. So your entire life become this test. I ain't trying to say the right answer. I am just doing what I feel. My mama said trying is failing. There is no ifs, woulds, coulds, shoulds. It just is, and we just are.
Gotta be like, even my friends, you know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta have something in you. Like, yo, we got the same mentality, like we got the same goal, or else Like, I'm not going, for me, if this what you want in life and it's not what I want, I'm not going to force you for it, but we're not going to be around every day if we're not getting the same goal.
Every stage in life can be an adventure. If you didn't make it in your 20s, you can make it in your 30s. And if you didn't make it in your 30s, you can make it in your 40s. And if you didn't make it in your 40s, you can make it in your 50s. And just remember Grandma Moses. You know who that is? Oh, please tell me you remember Grandma Moses. She was a painter. And she didn't start painting until, I think, in her 80s. And one of the most prolific painters.
It's never too late.
Never too late.
Never
So have fun. That's what it's all about.
I want to hear shit from you talking about you being broke. If you're not working in 60 hours minimum a week that you're getting paid for, turn off YouTube, Instagram, whatever, and get your ass out there. Go down there and work at McDonald's, Circle K, get you a job. I don't care about your pride. You can't be proud and broke at the same time. Go work, and work, and then you take that money you make from your part-time job, invest some of it, invest most and take half of it, invest it to your future. The other 50%, the other percentage, take some, have some fun, go buy your belt, then invest it in self-improvement. Get you a high-income skill. Get you something that's going to give you high-value skills that you can market on, that you can leverage on the marketplace. Whether you're working in corporate America or whether you're going to be doing your own entrepreneurial thing in the future. But men, if you're working, the harder you work, the luckier you get, the more exposure you get. And it's about hard work and speed.
At some point, you gotta be fucking tired of not being number one. You have to be, and you gotta fucking play angry. And you're always gonna have haters, and haters are like, well, God damn, man, how many movies are you gonna make, or how much shit are you gonna do? Like, you do a lot of shit. I say, yes, it's my ambition. Of course, why not? I could do it. Yeah, I love what I do. And not only that, but in what world do we not work every day? Doesn't mean, it's just like you guys in the off season. You gotta work every fucking day. Doesn't end. The key for me, well, I think one of the keys is remember where you came from, keep that shit in the front of your mind, and when shit goes bad and it goes sideways, a lot of shit does, you're getting booed out of the fucking building, or you're coming through this injury, or people are writing you off, oh, you guys ain't gonna fucking make it, you know, any of that shit. You gotta keep it in here. And it really has to, it should drive you.
Realize that when I am in crisis, when I have quote unquote fucked up, my response is, you fucking idiot. You know, how could you? Of course, what did you expect? If I spoke to my friends like I used to speak to myself, I would have no friends. So what I started to pay attention to was how I spoke to myself out loud and in my head. And in your head is a much more difficult conversation, but you can, I think, I judge, control the words that come out of your mouth. So if you do talk to yourself out loud, and I do, make sure that the words are loving and supportive and nourishing. Start the work of being your own best friend.
When the universe put the light on you, there's nothing stronger than a person whose time has come.
Yeah.
It's all about the light, man. All of us get it. You may not think the homeless man on the corner, the blind and paralyzed guy that's begging in the cup, we all get that moment of shine. We all get it. Feelings, perform, whatever it is, we all get it.
Do whatever you're gonna do, but you're not going to bully me. You're not gonna stop me, because my mother made me believe in myself. No matter how many people tell me, stop believing in yourself. Stop saying what you can do. Stop affirming what you're gonna do and then completing that in real life. That's the improper way to do it. I refuse to follow those rules that society has set up in the way that they control people with low self-esteem, with improper information, with branding, with marketing. I refuse to follow those rules. It's about truth, it's about information, it's about awesomeness, and the only luxury is time. The time you spend with your family. That's the only luxury.
You have to have an ability to handle pressure. And people that can handle pressure can be entrepreneurs, can be successful. Now, I have some friends that are really, really smart, but they can't handle pressure. In which case, they should work for somebody, do great, and have a good life. There's nothing wrong with it. Because I almost think that's an instinctive thing, the ability to handle pressure. Now, one of the things I tell people about pressure is, you know what? They said, how do you handle pressure? Who's had more pressure than me? Ay, ay, ay. Have I had pressure over the years? But one of the things I tell people about handling pressure is, remember, because they ask me the question, how do you handle the stress? You've got to be able to sort of say to yourself, nothing matters that much other than the real big deals with family, with your faith, etc.
But the one thing that I can always say that I was very lucky is I always knew what I wanted to do. I think if you look at most people right now, like if you went to any college campus anywhere in the world and asked these kids, what's your major and what do you want to do for the rest of your life? They'd be like, well, I'm taking political science, but I think I'm going to switch to this and that. They don't know. Yeah. They're going to college because they were told that if they didn't go to college, they'd never get a good job, they'd never get this, they'd never get that. Yeah. So these kids come out of college with an education that most of them don't use. Yeah. If you know what you want to do, you wake up every day and you work toward that goal. It's so much easier when you know what you want.
You know, I had to convince myself that I'm gonna make it, you know, regardless of how people felt at that time. And what it does is it makes you feel like, well, it made me feel like there's gonna be points that people are gonna mistake my confidence for arrogance, because they don't understand the process I went through. And how much I had to believe in myself in order to make these things happen. I feel like you can will yourself into a good space. Things that are meant to happen will. And if you believe in yourself enough, you can help yourself learn. You can inspire, yourself in different ways where you can actually discipline yourself.
I say be happy with what you got.
You'll be happy. Me, I want what's coming to me.
Or what's coming to you?
World, Chico, and everything in it.
The amount of what you can get is based solely on how much you can accept the opposite. So in other words...
Accept the opposite of what?
So let's say you really want to be rich, it's based on how willing you are to be poor.
Wow.
If you want the ultimate relationship, it's based on how willing you are to be alone. If you can love being alone, you'll cry out your codependency, you'll cry out the old story, and then you create a space for that. But if everyone is ambitiously just trying to date, there are going to be two attachments that are stopping each other from their inner truth, so it won't land. It won't last, right? So, and it goes all the way to, you want the best life? Totally accept death.
Wow.
To have the greatest life in the world, be completely and fully accepting of death. And the more you go, I'm fine with death, the more you feel free, right? It's weird because what we have now is a world of people who are really trying to put a million locks on the doors and protect themselves from a life they're not living.
What's the best advice you've ever received?
What if it can turn out better than you can imagine?
Second question, what's the worst advice you've ever received?
Be realistic.
Let your hustle and your actions speak for you. This is the only way you really could prove who the real hustlers are. Not who make the biggest hit record of the summer, not who got the biggest buzz, and not who got the best stylist. We're gonna look back a decade from now and see who got the most money, who made the most moves, who made the most millionaires, who put the most people in power, who really getting paper. That's what we're gonna see, and you can't talk your way into that.
Everybody's got a dream, everybody's got a goal. What's the plan? And your plan has got to have something I call the C5 complex. Your plan has got to be clear, concise, compelling, consistent, and committed. You got to have a plan. And when you're trying to do something that you're truly passionate about, there is no plan B.
Okay.
Plan B sucks.
All right.
Think about that for a second. Michael Jordan won 6 NBA championships with the Chicago Bulls because he was committed to Plan A, not Plan B. Oprah Winfrey became the queen of all media because she was committed to Plan A, not Plan B.
Okay.
Plan B sucks.
Do you know, man, that you can actually mess your life completely up? You can jack it all the way up and you can turn around and get it right. Do you know that you can be divorced multiple times and still be okay? You may not see it now, but when he gets you on the other side of it, you're gonna see exactly why it went that way. And you're gonna be okay with it. But quit tripping during the process. Oh Lord, why me? You ain't the only one. Oh Lord, why I lose my job? You ain't the only one unemployed. Oh Lord, why he leave me? You ain't the first chick got left. This might not even be your last time getting left. Pull yourself together and quit tripping, because you in the process. God is processing you. He ain't through with you. If he was through with you, you would not wake up in the morning.